What's up, guys? So I'm back again, just made a video this morning, couldn't keep myself away, had to make another video. And so I caught myself in the midst of procrastinating, so I decided instead of doing my work, I will make a video about procrastinating. So procrastinating, I mean, we've all procrastinated before, we all know what procrastinating is. You know, delaying what you need to do and doing something else. So, I mean, sometimes there is good procrastinating. You know, not all procrastinating is bad, but for most of us that would label ourselves procrastinators, it's almost never good, you know, because we're just in a mental pattern of procrastination, and we've gotten into this loop. Like, you know, if you watch my NoFap videos, like, same thing, you know, it's just a pattern that you've gotten addicted to. It's a pattern. And procrastinating, the one thing to realize, I think, is that many of us know the feeling, probably, of resistance, the feeling within you when you procrastinate. When you're procrastinating, you feel this kind of nastiness within you, and you don't want to feel that, but you also don't want to do the work, which if you did, you wouldn't feel this way. So it's like a battle between the two. So what you usually do is do an activity that takes your mind away from that covers it up, you know. So you escape that feeling, you know. You're an escapist, you're an escape artist, and that, you know, that formed a pattern where, you know, you didn't want to do this task, and you decided you better use your time to do this other thing that you thought is more worth your time, like maybe playing games, and now it's just a natural reaction, and you've gotten stuck in that. And, you know, the thing with procrastinators is that they make it out to be such a big thing in their mind, because once a pattern gets ingrained in you, it's always, you know, it's always running. So you gotta intercept it first with awareness. You gotta see it, and with willpower, you gotta, you know, break it. You gotta break the pattern. And with procrastinating, what you need to realize is this one thing, is the law of inertia. You know, an object that's in motion will remain in motion, object at rest will remain at rest. So same thing with procrastinating. Like, the hardest thing about it will be that first step. It's always gonna seem so damn hard, such a horrible task, you'd rather really put it off than deal with it now. But if you just started it, then it will be so much easier, and then the next day will be easier, the next day will be easier, and before you know it, that big ass boulder that was there, procrastination, you pushed it one bit, a little bit more. The key is to keep on pushing at it, and it becomes, you know, your natural response, and it becomes easy. So that's really just the key thing to remember, is that it will always look so ugly, so hard, but the key is just to begin it, just to start it, you know. And the key to getting yourself started is to not make it out so big. Like, maybe break it down, or maybe just kind of trick yourself. Be like, well, I'm only gonna sit down and work for 5 minutes, or read for 5 minutes, or read one page, or for homework, like, you know what, I'm just gonna get the environment ready for my homework. Like, you get home, you tell yourself that, and that's the first thing you do. Just do something that's related to your task, that's so easy that you just can't say no to it. Anything. So you know, you get home, normally you never do homework when you get home, but today you're like, I'm gonna do it. So what's the easiest thing you could tell yourself? Like, well, I'm just gonna set the environment for my homework. So you go, you know, you put the books you need on the table, your little pencil there, you know, you scoot up your chair, and you've already begun the task. And now transitioning from that, you've already gone over the biggest hurdle. So transitioning from that to like, maybe I'll sit down and read one page, that becomes easy. And then from that, you'll probably just naturally, read everything what you need to, or maybe a lot more than you expected to. And keeping those two things in mind, that it's always gonna seem so bad, so hard at the beginning, and knowing that, you employ like a psychological trick to just trick yourself. I mean, this is your mind talking about. You gotta trick that tricky bastard. So with those two things, I mean, you could do it. And to stretch this out further, procrastinating, a little maybe more philosophical, is like we all, or I'm not gonna say all, but a lot of us see that feeling of resistance as kind of this bad thing. But really, if you look at it, it's like your GPS, it's your guiding system. It's telling you when you're off track of whatever you set yourself out to do. It's telling you, it's giving you input, it's making you feel like shit so you don't do that anymore. And a procrastinator kind of gets stuck in a sort of self-created hell because he doesn't do the task which will liberate him from the feeling, but he stays in that feeling for so long that he almost gets used to it, and he almost gets addicted to that, And really, when you do that, when you continually resist doing what you need to do, it's kind of resisting the call to life. Because if you really think about it, like when you watch a movie or something, like the hero goes on an adventure, and he's kind of guided along his way. Like there's subtle things that guide him in one direction or another. Sometimes he has no idea what he needs to do or where he needs to go, but he does the first thing maybe that comes to his mind, and he goes and does that thing, and then he gets a little more clarification or whatever. Something happens, something beyond him perhaps is guiding him, and he feels it within him. Maybe I'm stretching that a little, but what I'm trying to say with this metaphor is that when you're resisting your own call, it's like you're resisting life. But when you're resisting your own call, you're kind of trying to create your own reality, because you're really shrinking and limiting your reality. Because when you resist, you then try and mask it with other activities that you think are more worth your time, that are better, that are more you. That's your free time, that's your liberation, is that your choice to choose the thing that you like more. But really it's not, it's your own prison, that you see that other thing as something better than what you have to do. Now I might be getting a little mindfucky with this, but the main thing I'm laying down here is that when you're continually resisting that inner call, when you're procrastinating, when you're not doing those things, your reality, your life becomes really limited, small. Things don't really happen spontaneously, because if there was some sort of spontaneous event, some sort of something, some sort of urge within you to do something, your natural tendency is to not interact with that. Your natural tendency has been to smother all that feeling, and to push it away to another time. Another time doesn't exist. In your mind it exists. So what you're really doing is you're continually smothering your inner guidance. You're continually smothering the true life process. And your life, in return, gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, more predictable, and that's what happens, guys. So yeah, procrastination nation. So just as I'm about to do right now, making this video for myself, has solidified this in me. This was a tremendous help to me right now, actually. So after this video, I'm actually gonna go and do what I was procrastinating, and I challenge you, whatever you've been resisting today, to just drop it. Drop whatever you're doing and go do that thing. Just start it. Do something real stupidly simple, like, just like I said before, set the environment to do it, or whatever, you know. So yeah, guys, 2 videos in one day. That's a new record. Strive potential here. And peace, guys. Good night. Sweet dreams. I love you.